Top 5 things needed to build brand awareness locally. Best practices from Covered California's bus tour in local communities. Hi, I'm Rachel Manke with Ogilvy.
And I'm Naseem with Ogilvy.
Today we're going to highlight 5 things that are needed to build brand awareness locally. We all have clients that want to be on the front page of the New York Times or be offered a segment on the Today Show. But we also have clients who need and recognize the importance of a tried and true, boots on the ground, grassroots effort to support their goals and objectives.
The client we'll be talking about today is Covered California, our state's implementation of the Affordable Care Act. The Covered California brand was strong during and after year one with state and national announcements, but in order to continue to make news in each cycle of healthcare open enrollment, we needed a new way to highlight Covered California and local communities across the state. Following the first year of open enrollment and after strategic consideration, we embarked on a mobile bus tour as a key way to put all of Covered California's best assets together into one highly effective and visual roadshow.
Tip number 1, make it newsworthy. Whether your brand is local, statewide, or national, you still need a compelling and interesting story for it to be newsworthy. In our case, healthcare enrollment through a health benefit exchange was still fairly new, but the media had well covered it the year prior, so our combined project team needed to pull together assets that told the client's story in new and different ways in these local communities.
The power and reach of local media outlets, from print weeklies to online blogs and local broadcast news, cannot be underestimated. These are the media outlets that have the trust of their local audience, and we needed to get our campaign messages to them.
Tip 2, hit the road locally. California is such a geographically expansive state with a very large and diverse population. So in order to help Covered California promote the healthcare open enrollment for the Affordable Care Act, we decided we need to hit the state, go out locally, by traversing it in a bus at 23 communities across the state in 11 days. In most communities, we're able to partner with a local leading healthcare nonprofit, electeds, and other VIPs to complement our brand, and further the client message to encourage enrollment. We also got the local community to help amplify our message via social media, whether it was a branded signage, hashtags, or photos with our executive director, Peter V. Lee, hanging out with the bus. We had the community tweeting, posting on Facebook, and using Instagram with our signage and our messages. We also brought the tour bus to establish locations like well-known hospitals, healthcare clinics, and we conducted our media events there. We've had huge success working with local stakeholders, elected officials, and VIPs, and even the real people can tell their story to help amplify our client's message and add credibility and authenticity to what we're saying. That's especially effective with groups like Latinos, African Americans, and the API community. When it comes to partners like this, the more the merrier.
Tip number 3. Go big with visuals. How does the saying go? Go big or go home? Well, we certainly did. For this bus tour, we commissioned a 54-passenger bus as the main visual and backdrop for our statewide bus tour, including press conferences, media one-on-ones, and community enrollment events. And it wasn't just any bus. It stood 12 feet high and 45 feet long. It was a massive, massive bus. And we did a 360-degree wrap-up imaging on the outside of the bus to further display our branding for the Covered California I'm In tour. When the bus pulled up, we also had the staging area flanked by vertical signage, banners, balloons, and more. The client and local stakeholders and consumers also held up display signs that said, "I'm in Los Angeles" or "I'm in Sacramento," showcasing their dedication to being in for Covered California.
Tip number 4, create some urgency. The most important thing we have to remember when we have a bus tour is that the bus only stops for a little while in each city. We have to give the press time to interview Peter, and in the case of OE2, this is not the first time they've seen it. So we have to create urgency both for the press, for our client who wants to make sure he's fresh and new to every reporter, and for anyone else who's showing up. Creating urgency both for the press, for our client, and for the other folks who are involved is really important, and we've been able to do that, and that's led to the success of our bus tours.
And finally, tip number 5, provide local substance. Healthcare is not a one-size-fits-all product, and neither are the local communities. From the outset of the launch of Covered California, there was demand for enrollment data, ranging from the number of uninsured in individual communities to the number of people that had enrolled in a county and the number of enrollment locations in a region. Without preparing and sharing this data, we could not have been able to share our brand and tell the Covered California story so well and at such a hyper-local level. We also had a process in place to secure local data while on the road so that our client could share it with the media when doing numerous phone interviews from the bus. One of the things we did was also to have a website where people, especially the media, could pull some data from.
So in closing, we hope you can tell that these 5 tips together were a recipe for success for Ogilvy Sacramento client, Covered California. But frankly, there was no single ingredient in this brand building activity that trumped the others. We needed all 5 of these best practices to work together.
So in total, the Covered California team traveled to 23 cities and held more than 30 events across California during open enrollment 2. As a result, the earned media coverage attained more than 34 million media impressions, valued at nearly 1.3 million for just 3 months of placements. For more information on Covered California or how best to build your brand locally, you can contact us at Ogilvy Sacramento.